According to the Oxford Dictionary, printing is the act of producing letters, pictures, patterns, etc. on something by pressing a surface covered with ink against it. First seen in China with woodblock printing during the Song dynasty, and later reintroduced in Germany with the creation of the printing press, the act of printing is nothing new. Recently, printing has taken a new form, evolving from ink and paper to flesh and muscle. Scientists are transforming the age-old task of printing to recreate natural tissue and organs in a process known as 3D bioprinting. It's Agent RX, and welcome to Episode 2 of The Next Prescription. Today, we will dive into the world of 3D bioprinting. We will investigate what 3D bioprinting is, its history, how it works, current applications, the concerns associated with it, and lastly, what the future holds for this remarkable new technology. What is 3D bioprinting? Before we explore the fascinating history of 3D bioprinting, let's dive into what it is. 3D bioprinting is known as an extended application of additive manufacturing. It is the act of using bioinks to create natural structures and tissues by printing and organizing living cells. Bioinks are synthetic polymers usually mixed with natural materials. Their purpose is to aid in cell adhesion, cell diffusion, and support living cells. Now, how did this revolutionary concept come to be? History and important figures. It all started during the medieval and early modern times. The act of printing has existed starting in China, where simple characters could be copied, to a mechanized printing press in Europe. These forms of printing, however, consisted of two-dimensional text being copied onto paper, the duplication of ideas and thoughts versus tangible items. This all changed when Charles Hull developed a method of stereolithography in 1984. Stereolithography is a process where a laser is pointed onto a malleable resin. The laser hardens only specific regions of the resin in order to sculpt it into the desired object. Charles Hull's development was the birth of 3D printing. However, 4 years later, R.J. Klebb adapted Hull's printing to cytoscribing, forming the first appearance of 3D bioprinting. Cytoscribing involves using a Hewlett-Packard HP inkjet printer, a regular printer you probably have in your home, to insert cell-adhesive proteins onto a substrate material. These proteins allow the cells to be arranged into a specific pattern, forming two-dimensional tissue. Although he didn't achieve any 3D structures, his work was fundamental for other scientists to continue research in the 3D bioprinting field. In 1996, Gabor Forgas and co-workers observed how tissue on a large scale held its form using surface tension. By measuring the force of the surface tension, they were able to discover the strength of the bonds between the tissue cells, or the cohesive vigor. This information was crucial for developing 3D bioprinting. It helps scientists understand how tissue acts like water. It can be stuck together, broken apart, and self-organize, all due to surface tension. This changed the perspective on furthering bioprinting techniques. Scientists drifted away from the idea of a strict and rigid outline, but towards a scaffold-free one, laying the foundation for modern-day bioprinting. Physician bioengineer Anthony Atala helped implement the new bioprinting techniques Forgas discovered. Anthony Atala created the first ever lab-grown organ, a bladder. His accomplishment led to his founding of Wake Forest Institute for Regenerative Medicine, which is one of the leading 3D bioprinting manufacturers. They print hearts, muscles, cartilage, and much more. In 2003, Thomas Boland adapted standard inkjet printers for biological materials. He is credited with developing the concept of inkjet bioprinting. He and some colleagues modified a standard HP inkjet printer to account for biological materials and substances. His printer became known as the first ancestor of modern-day bioprinters. His machines allowed him to further his research in the field of bioprinting. The following year, Dr. Gabor Forgas released his own bioprinter. It was the first device which allowed for the use of live cells without supportive scaffolding. His innovation allowed for the first commercial bioprinters to emerge, and it supported bioengineers' tasks to create the first biodegraded blood vessel. Into the 2010s, scientists continue to further scientific research onto 3D bioprinting. Their efforts allowed them to create structures such as regenerative tissue and liver in 2012 to a bioprinted heart valve in 2016. As scientists' research leads to more and more breakthroughs, bioprinting technology has slowly made its way into real-world medical use. But how exactly do you print living tissue? How does 3D bioprinting work? The process of a 3D bioprinting is similar to the one of regular 3D printing. Both are in additive manufacturing, meaning the materials are layered on top of each other until the product is finished. The difference being one deals with inanimate materials and the other with animated ones. 3D printers often print solid materials, whereas 3D bioprinters print liquid or gel. There are three main steps in 3D bioprinting. Step 1. Pre-printing. First, a digital file must be created containing a 3D model for the printers to read. The printers will follow the outline of the model to determine facts such as the complexity of the object. Step 2. Bioprinting. The cartridges of each print head will be loaded with the necessary bioinks. The bioinks implemented are dependent on the structure and material being created. Next, the scientists will include the parameters of the construction into the printer, and the printing begins. The bioinks are dispersed into a designated pattern. Most modern-day bioprinting practices are light-based. This means a photosensitive bioink must be administered into the process. From there, the figures are built with a patterned light projected onto the bioinks. This will form the desired structures. Step 3. Post-bioprinting. After the desired structure is made, it must be stabilized. This is done in a process known as cross-linking. Cross-linking involves either an ionic solution or UV light being administered into the crafted structure. The type of cross-linking to use is determined by the attributes of the structure. After that, the structure is placed with a suitable cell medium, a medium fostering the cell cycle, and into an incubator to grow and develop. Where is 3D bioprinting used, aka its applications? Now that we've collected our 3D printed organs and tissue, how can we use them? 3D bioprinting has proven to be useful in a multitude of different sectors. To start us off, 3D bioprinting has been used to advance tissue engineering. 3D bioprinting has allowed for mimics of original supportive human tissue to be more precise than what previous methods only dreamed of. Since bioprinting is more automated and it involves the use of a computer model, the creation of human-made regenerative tissue faces less limitations. It's able to create tissue with a stronger resemblance to the one of our anatomy and more customization to the individual. Secondly, 3D bioprinting has enhanced drug development. Drug testing and development is usually done at the expense of many living subjects, humans and animals alike. To try all these subjects becomes costly and inconvenient for organizations across the board. Although 3D bioprinting can't erase the need for human and animal trials, it can provide a faster conclusion of the drug's efficiency and bring to light unaccounted side effects. Concerns of 3D bioprinting. As we've explored the unrealistic realism that is 3D bioprinting, it's no shocker it comes with a big cost. Honestly, I could write a whole other episode on all the backlash this field has faced, but right now, I will focus on three main concerns: expense, energy consumption, and ethical issues. To start us off, let's explore the cost of 3D bioprinting. To put it simply, the process is extremely costly. First off, the printer alone can cost up to $300,000. In addition, to maintain the process, the bioinks have to be constantly refilled, which can cost anywhere between $3.85 to $100,000. Bioprinting can quickly become a large expense to start and upkeep. These high costs make it difficult for small research facilities and hospitals to afford, and they're one of the main factors that limit 3D bioprinting scalability. Next up, energy consumption. 3D bioprinting requires large amounts of heat in order to form the desired structures. To produce these high levels of heat, a minimum of 1,000 watts of energy is required. All the energy consumption for the product of these 3D bioprinted structures releases an immense amount of carbon dioxide, especially if the energy source is non-renewable, contributing to the spread of global warming. Lastly, and possibly the most important, the ethical issues. 3D bioprinting is causing much debate in the ethical world, from consent, invasive procedures, and its impact on future generations. There are just too many for me to cover, so I've chosen one of the most prominent concerns, which is its challenge to the right to life. 3D bioprinting favors embryonic stem cells, which are the cells formed a few days after fertilization. They are highly sought after because they have the ability to develop into any type of cell in the body. Muscle, tissue, skin, blood, it could become all. The only catch is that these cells can only be obtained from a fertilized embryo. It raises questions such as, when does life start? And is it okay to steal cells from something that could become a human? 3D bioprinting is one of those situations where the lines between science and humanity start to blur into each other, leaving us to question, just because we can make something, should we? What the future holds. Even with all the challenges presented to 3D bioprinting, scientists and researchers are continuing to advance their understanding on the topic. One achievement scientists hope to achieve are fully functioning transplantable human organs using 3D bioprinting. Organ donations are one of the most sought-after resources in modern medicine. With the increase of organ failures worldwide, organ transplant demands have been increasing rapidly. Thousands of patients are denied a better quality of life due to the length of organ donation wait lists. 3D bioprinting has offered a new avenue to solve this problem. It offers a great stock of organs while also providing organs more specialized to the individual. 3D bioprinting is creating a promising possibility of widening organ transplant opportunities to individuals all across the board, helping many of them achieve a quality of life never possibly imagined. Another possibility 3D bioprinting has led to is the idea of 4D bioprinting. 3D bioprinting is responsible for making organs that must be accurate to take the place of the damaged ones. However, 4D bioprinting is allowing for the organ to respond to its environment. With time, they can withstand more environmental pressures and can be more long-lasting because 4D printed organs promise to have time-based adaptability with components such as healing themselves and growing with the body. Conclusion. From a simple wood blocking practice in China, printing has taken a turn no one would have expected. We now have the ability to create a heartbeat from cells. 3D bioprinting has the ability to change modern medicine as we know it, simply replacing organs that don't work. But with this much power, a set of challenging questions must follow. 3D bioprinting raises questions such as, when does the line between natural and synthetically created life begin to blur? Leading us to questions as simple as, should we pursue it? As research continues, it's crucial for us to consider the benefits and dangers of the complexities of 3D bioprinting. These printers aren't just arranging cells and creating organs, they are printing life and possibilities. I hope you take everything you've learned in this episode to form your opinions on the future of 3D bioprinting. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Thank you for tuning in to the next prescription, and until next time, this is Agent RX signing out.